You mentioned children in that piece, and I'm curious how should people think about parenting, and how do you become the best parent you possibly can be?
I read a biography, A Good Man, a couple years back. His son, this gentleman's son, wrote it, and I was moved by the the softness and care in which this man took to raise his children. He would write his children a note at night, a little note, and slip it into their doors. And like one note was, I bought you some shaving cream and some razors because I saw you'd cut yourself shaving. And like the son knew his father was observing him, and even though he was in his teenage years, he was making these small observations and then doing these small acts of kindness of just like, I've got you, son. And I was so compelled by this care. I mean, I struggle talking about it, without getting teared up. But it's like this. It's this ever so gentle touch with your children.
What's the nicest thing you've ever that's ever been done to you?
Hmm. A couple of years ago, I was out in the yard playing soccer with my son. He was, I think, 12 at the time. And I need to regain my composure. And he said, your dad, I appreciate you playing soccer with me. I bet it's not the most fun thing you could do because you're an adult and you have things you do as an adult that are probably a lot more fun than playing with a 12-year-old. And, it just broke my heart. Like his self-awareness was off the charts, and his willingness to lean into me and to acknowledge me as a human and to try to meet me in the middle of the relationship. But I'd say it's been this reciprocal nature with my children where they see my efforts and they meet me. What I'd say is the kindest thing anyone's ever done is, because as a child, we give license in society for them to be selfish and self-centered and oblivious to things around them. And when they step forward and they do their part for the integrity of the relationship, it's really, they're sweet moments, which I appreciate a lot.
It's beautiful. Why do you think it's so impactful for us to be seen or to be heard? Mm-hmm. What is going on there?
I mean, principally, we're not very complicated creatures. We are systems of biochemical reactions, and we typically dislike pain and we like pleasure. And we go towards pleasure and we move away from pain. And that's kind of just what we do in life. And we, again, can come up with all these fancy stories and all these behavioral tendencies. And, there, of course, are nuances in terms of mental conditions where those things aren't that clear. But generally speaking, getting recognition is pleasurable. Being respected is pleasurable. Being shunned or ostracized by society is not pleasurable. And I think all of us are moving towards pleasure and trying to minimize pain in our lives. And I just don't know if it's, if it's that much more complicated than those basic principles. Again, it can be more nuanced, and we, of course, can go at different layers of abstraction. But remembering that helps me simplify a lot of our thought. I mean, one thing the kids and I did, we would go to this running biking trail by our house. and we would buy power bars and water, and bikers would come by, runners and bikers would come by, and we would just give them out. We had signs that said free drinks, free power bars. And it was an interesting experience because people were instantaneously suspicious of our motivations. They thought, okay, they'd ask, what does this cost? Or who are you with? Or what cause do you represent? Or they were expecting a pamphlet. And we explained to them, we have no agenda. We're not associated with anyone. We have no purpose. We're not charging you anything. We're just here to have a good time with you. And people were shocked that happened because it's expected. There's a hook on every behavior, but to us it was something that we wanted, that to be a free agent in life, to not have to represent someone's interests, and to just do something because it helped others. And we, of course, it was pleasurable for us too, because doing something nice for people makes you feel good. And so these are the kinds of things that get me excited about imagining our future. Is I don't think the way we are is forever how we're going to be or needs to be. And if we suspend these assumptions for a moment, and we open up our minds and say, what could really happen? What could we really become? It's not impossible that we evolve ourselves into some kind of cooperation, global cooperation. It takes courage to go down that path, but it's certainly, I think, worthwhile.